Hi everyone, I'm Debiria from Debiria's Naturals and Cases of Evolutionary Empowerment. This is your empowerment message. Um, First off, no, it's been a long time. Hi, I'm back. I had to take a break because with these energies, the light workers and the healers, they have had to contribute a lot of energy towards this shift. It's like being in a birthing canal, and right when there's just like I kept hearing one final push, and then you're gonna have your brand new life. And there have been these ascension symptoms. I like to call them my graduates, my twin flame collective that I've been working with, my graduates. Um, they've been feeling the shift too, so they know what I'm talking about. Uh, so, dream. I had a dream. In this dream, I was in my hometown, um, Selma, Alabama, and I was in my house that I grew up in as a child, and my children were with me, and we heard the wind howling, and we looked out the window, and other people looked out the window. They just saw that the wind was blowing, and they were like, "Oh, a storm is not scheduled. It's not in the forecast that there's a storm coming." But when me and my children looked out the window, we didn't see with our physical eyes what they saw. We saw with our spiritual eyes what was really there. And what was really there was there were so many angels, like hundreds upon hundreds, of angels. And they were flying, and their wings were so big they were causing the trees to bow as they flew by and over. They weren't flying low, but they were flying, they weren't flying low like on our level. So the fact that they were still pretty up there, and the wingspan and the gusts of wind from it caused all the trees to bow, and caused like I even saw where some trees had broken apart, and it looked like logs were on the power line. So, and I was like, that's weird because it didn't look like a whole tree fell on. It looked like cut logs were just laying on the power lines. And everyone was like, "Oh, well, storm wasn't in the forecast," and I said, "That's not a storm." And I heard the goddess Kali. I heard and I saw that she was coming, and that the angels were heralding her coming in. And everyone was like, what is it? And I said, the goddess Kali is coming. And everyone was like, what does she want? And I said, she wants vengeance. She wants to restore balance. And they said, well, why is she here? And in my dream, I said, because I called them, you know. And they were like, why did you call them? Or who are you that you can call them? And I explained in my dream that the last time I called the angels, 3:33 on the clock, the last time I called the angels, which happened in this reality, I prayed and asked the angels to come to bring balance and to aid the twin flames, break these generational curses, break these witchcraft curses or whatever, these spells and hexes. A tornado came that wasn't scheduled. And other people who were spiritual saw that it wasn't a tornado. They saw that it was angels. They saw it in dreams and visions the night that I prayed the prayer. They saw it in dreams and visions that night and the next day. Not only that, but there was a pastor of a church in the city that I was living in at the time. He didn't know anything about any of these things. And when I spoke to him, he told me that he saw that the storm wasn't a regular storm and that it was angels. And he didn't know who had called them or who summoned them, but that they were coming to aid. And so, that was my confirmation right there that my prayer had been answered and had been heard. Well, recently I did a energy bomb. Like, what do you call it? I guess the best way to describe it would be like it's chi energy that you channel and harness the energy of the universe and the earth, and you use it to create healing. And as a Reiki healer and a light worker, one of my gifts is that I'm able to harness and channel energy for healing for the earth and for others and individuals and for the collective. I'm also able to open up portals and for it not open up portals in order for the dark energy or debris to move out of the way so the light can come in. So that's one of the things that occurred. And since then it's been kind of raining and storming, so mainly over my house. So I feel like it's just been washing away all the dark energy. And last night in a vision I saw like a bubble or a dome, which was like, it was like cloudy or foggy, or like if you was to have like a sandstorm or a dirt, like a bunch of dirt, like a whirlwind of dirt, or it's just suspended in the air. I saw that being moved. I saw that being moved. Okay, what does all this have to do with anything that I'm sharing with you? I'm going to put it together now. The Kali, Kali is the mother of the universe, and she is the dark divine feminine from whence creation comes and flows, life force energy. And for her to be coming in, she's bringing in karma. And my mother has also been having dreams and visions as well. And one dream and vision that she had was that she was a mother fighting for her family. And she had to go through all these trials and tests and tribulations to fight a war for her family. And so I feel like this was Goddess Kali energy being translated to her. But she said one of the animals, that a spirit animal she saw in her dream, was a bull that she had to fight. And I felt like that was intriguing. And I'm going to look up what that means, but I felt like intuitively that the bull represented, stubborn energy. I felt like it represented the Ras Tau, the Tarian bull in Egyptian lore or history, mythology, whatever you want to call it. It represented the Tarian bull, and the story of the Tarian bull was that it was the son of Hathor, which is Isis. And in order for balance to be restored, the Tarian bull had to merge back into the mother, had to go back into Hathor, Isis, and then balance was restored. Now, what does that represent? That represents the ego dying, and and that's a strong word about ego death, but that represents like releasing the ego, releasing pride, releasing the masculine hold on things so that balance can be restored back to its original natural order. And again, returning back to mother, back to goddess, back to Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is restoring the balance. I did go through my Divine Feminine deck and I pulled out the Goddess Kali's card, and it says, the mother of the universe. I release all that doesn't serve me. It's time to be the truth of who I am. And that is what I feel like the Goddess Kali is bringing in for us. And with those logs being on the power lines, I understood and interpreted that part of the vision as the trees have a intricate network underground with their roots, and they have electrical impulses like a brain, like synapses of a brain, where they communicate with each other, and they understand each other. They keep each other alive. If a tree falls and it is not a greedy affected in some way where it could not maintain its own life source, the trees roots underground will still feed that log. That's why there could be logs that have been laying on the ground for years, centuries, decades, whatever, and they don't decompose and break down. They still have life on them. The life is not just on them, the life force is still flowing through them because the other trees are keeping them alive. I've even posted a picture on my Facebook page where this tree was completely like broken, like cut off from its base, and another tree merged with it and carried it on up as it continued to grow up into the sky. That tree is attached to it and it's still alive, and they're growing together even though it doesn't have its own roots. And so nature is telling us something here. Nature has been telling us that we have to work together to stay alive, and this is natural. It is natural to love. It is natural to work together, and it is natural to not leech off someone, but to need help sometimes, and to be helped, and to help each other to maintain the ecosystem and the balance. So I saw that going on. So when it says that I release that doesn't serve me, and I'm talking going back to what I was saying about the power lines in my dream, uh, it was telling us that our connection to source and to energy had been cut, and we've been placed on this electronic grid where we are believing that our reality is one thing, and that is not natural reality that we had been perceiving, or we had been taught to perceive as reality is not natural. And this saying, I release all that doesn't serve me. What doesn't serve you is what doesn't serve the earth, and what doesn't serve the goddess Kali. What doesn't serve Gaia is anything that is not a part of the ecosystem. So the earth is taking back its power, and restoring and regenerating, and we're going to a higher dimension of being. And it's and while you're thinking, okay, we're growing and we're evolving, and this is why our electronics are what they are, our electronics are still just a subsidiary uh, representation of the technology that is within us. The power, the abilities that we have naturally when we reconnect to Mother Gaia, to the earth. And it's saying it's time to be the truth of who I am. I feel like this is going to break us out of these illusions, break us out of this false energy, break us out of this matrix energy. And it's interesting that the statue in front of CERN was the goddess Kali, and I think recently it had been destroyed. And everybody was like, well, why would they destroy their own deity? Why would they destroy their own representing energy? Well, if it was encased in stone as a representational energy, and then now it is broken, then that representational energy is no longer needed because the actual energy is here. And again, that's just the interpretation that my guides feed me when I'm giving answers to certain questions. And the fact that master number 333 showed up while I was discussing this is significant. So I am going to pull that angel number up right now. So 333 angel number symbolizes encouragement, making the correct choices in life. Okay, it's talking about it's time to make essential changes. So that is going in line with releasing with that which doesn't serve. So this is meaning not just your mindset, not just your ideas, not just your perception, your philosophies that's being released that no longer serve you, or that don't serve this world as we are ascending, but also standards of living, or the way society is run, or, and I'm hearing police, how the world is policed or governed. It's not serving the natural order of things. It's actually have been forever serving the matrix and the discord of things. We're not supposed to operate in fear and doubt, because and even though we have had religion and these philosophers and ascended masters come to us and explain these things to us, I don't think we quite understood the weight of it, or just what that meant. Oh, you're telling yourself you don't have to worry, but it's not in you because you've been fear has been imposed upon you by this matrix, by this system that we have been in for so long. And I feel like the goddess Kali is coming to cut all of that away. Now, I've done a video in the past about the story of the goddess Kali, like her famous pose of her with the multiple arms dancing, holding the head of this demon, with the dagger in her mouth and the blood everywhere, and what that actually meant. Let's see. And that's this card right here. It's only showing her, and with the skulls of those who she has, her enemies who she has defeated, hung around her neck. The story goes that there was a demon, and every time she cut the demon's head off, then it grew other heads. And that's been the case whenever a entity or a power source had been defeated, there had been another to rise up, or multiple ones that you didn't realize, that you're thinking that you're taking this one out, but really there was more. But what happened in this story was that the blood of this demon would create more demons. Just a drop of it on the ground created more demons, and she found herself frustrated. So what she realized, once she realized that it was the blood that was causing the demons to stir, and I find this part of the story interesting right now because they're speaking to me, and they're saying it's the blood that had been tainted, the bloodlines of the ancestors of the ancients, and also there's been like this really dark bloodline, this very demonic, very destructive bloodline, and their presence in the earth was like a disease. So what the goddess Kali did was she drank, when she killed them, she drank every drop of their blood. But as she did that, she became bloodthirsty, and even after she had killed all the demons and drank all their blood, and even killed the main one and drank every drop of his blood, she began to kill innocents as well. And it took her husband, the other gods was like, okay, can you go get your girl? Can you go get your girl? And he was looking at her like, oh my love. And he went and laid amongst the corpses. And as she was doing her her little dance, like her little war dance, because she was excited, she had slayed all the demons, and she found herself with her foot on her beloved, and she was embarrassed, like, oh, I didn't realize I was stepping on my love. How did you get down there? And then that softened her energy and brought her back. And that's also a representational energy of the Rostau, the Taurean bull, merging back into Isis to create balance. Why do I say that? It's because he didn't use his masculine force and say, sit down, lady, do what I say. She's in full goddess mode. You don't tell a goddess what to do. He humbled himself. And even in Indian culture, and this is just me talking about, and I don't remember which specific one it was. Matter of fact, I do. It may be still in my book. It's the last video I did, and I think it was, I want to say her name right. Saraswati. Okay, so it was Saraswati. And then we got Sarah Lakali. I'm going to look these people up, these deities up. But anyway, Saraswati, she lived on a mountain, and she held the Triton of her husband's power, the divine masculine, and instead of her merging and becoming part of his legacy, he merged into her and became part of her legacy. Now, people may think, okay, Charmaine, you're speaking about feminism. Debiria is not speaking about feminism. Debiria is telling you the stories, and Debiria is telling you guys, expressing to you that their masculine energies have caused a lot of imbalance in the earth, and in order to restore that, the feminine energy has to be the one to restore it. Masculine energy, I'm going to go into that another time in another video, what the masculine and feminine energies do. But the masculine energy is supposed to maintain order and discipline and structure and such like that. However, there is a toxic masculine energy that would be destructive and suppress the feminine energy, and that's exactly what's going on at this time. It has been going on forever. There is a feminine energy that is nurturing and restorative and brings birth, brings forth fertility and abundance into the earth. But there's a toxic femininity that is manipulative and destructive. And I want to say mentally, because we can, feminine energies, we got the sword right here. We got the sword in your mouth, your tongue. That is the sword. That's the sword. You don't have to have physical strength to cut someone down. And the masculine's ego is, you can't be just like that, because then they have physical power and strength. And so you have the spiritual and emotional, and they have the logical and the physical, and there needs to be a balance, and they have to work together. And this is what the divine has been talking to me about. He told me to teach you guys about the divine Ka and Ba. And again, I'll have to get into that later, but the Ka and the Ba are aspects of the word Merkaba, which is light, spirit light body. That's what Merkaba means. And the Merkaba is a tetrahedron, which is the Star of David, but a fourth dimensional figure of the Star of David. And it has different representational meanings, but ultimately it is the light source within us, and you can't access that energy without being in balance and alignment with nature, with the divine, and without unconditional love, and being a, I wanted to say beacon of unconditional love, but I feel like a reservoir, a channel of unconditional love. I feel like a channel, but I feel like also a conductor. So I'm feeling like I'm seeing like an image as I'm talking about unconditional love as of a person, but the person is a conductor, right? The person is a conductor, and as a conductor, it's receiving, and it has an input and an output. So I'm feeling like there's an input of unconditional love and there's an output of unconditional love. It's like going both ways at all times. And if you're not resonating and vibrating at that frequency, then there are certain things that you're not going to be privy to, and that's the frequency that you have to be on. You're like, okay, unconditional love, but God's kind of coming to kill people. She's coming to kill and destroy, and because that's the energy that you see or that you believe. Well, what is being destroyed right now is that which does not serve. So that the truth of who I am, I am, the great I am, whatever, consciousness can, I get stumped with my words sometimes, so that the truth can be. It can't stand. It's the truth is gonna stand anyway. So I'm gonna just read about who is she, the goddess Kali. Kali embodies the ultimate wake-up call to get us aligned as soon as possible with what we have come here to do. And last night, during my meditation, I kept hearing, "Get up! There's something you need to do." And I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing? And it was just like an energy of get up. And then there were gunshots outside my house, around my neighborhood or whatever. And it was like somebody emptied the clip of 2 guns. Like, and that put me in the energy, and it was telling me, I read it as an omen. So yeah, of course something happened. Yeah, in the natural world. Yeah, that's important. However, my point is, it's a wake-up call, and the wake-up call is saying that something is an emergency, or something is about to be fired off, or something is about to shift drastically, or you know it's saying this Hindu goddess is the most fierce form of the dark divine feminine. She is that which brings all things to life and or to an end. Her name comes from the Sanskrit word meaning fullness of time. Now, I found that interesting that her name means fullness of time, because time has been feeling like it is going by extremely fast. You'll look up and it's nearly the end of the year, now that we done tilted past month number 6. Yeah, we're closer to the end of the year than we were to the beginning. Not only that, but I've been dealing with time redemption in my spirit, because time doesn't exist. However, we have been using it as a guide stone, or we've been using it to measure our life, measure everything, measure what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, all that stuff like that. Rather than following whatever divine timing is, where the universe leads us to do it will be exactly when it needs to be done. And that's still the case. However, you're thinking, I'm supposed to do it on this day at this time, when the time as we understand it isn't how we're supposed to read time. We're supposed to understand and read time through the cosmic clock, which is the cosmos, which is the universe, the stars, and the moon cycles. Fullness of time is, there is a scripture in the Bible, I feel like, when it was talking about basically something that has become ripe, or something that has reached its full course. And I feel like even the page number that the goddess Kali is on is page 64, which combines to be the number 10, which is the completion of a cycle, the completion of time, which is interesting that it was on that page number, and starting in the number 1, going from 10, starting back to 0 and 1, bringing things full circle so that they can be started over. The 10 of Swords in tarot is the complete ending of something, the complete death of something. 10 swords in the back is dead. So intriguingly, this being the page number, and goddess Kali representing she which brings all things to life or to an end, it's sort of giving you the gravity of this situation, of what's going on right now. Kali is first mentioned in the 6th century, when the goddess Durga was threatened by the demons. Okay, so yes, this is talking about the story that I just told you, so I don't have to say that part. Um, when so I'm just gonna let you know, when your soul selects this card, or basically soul selected this goddess Kali to come forward, it just wants you to know, like, this is what it means. Kali is as subtle as a sledgehammer. She shows up to strip us of what no longer serves us. And that sounds good in theory, but in practice, it can feel as if the ground beneath us has turned to sand. All those illusions about ourselves, especially what we think we're capable of, suddenly dissolve beneath us. When Kali sweeps in, we can easily slip into feeling like a victim. It can feel as though events are happening to us rather than for us. And I was scrolling through movies yesterday, and I couldn't find the movie that I wanted, but I kept landing on the on the beginning of a movie. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even wait for the credits to begin. But the man was saying, he was standing on an island, and he was saying that he had to learn that things are happening for him and not to him. And I feel like he was just doing a reflection on his life. And it's interesting that I saw that yesterday, and that stuck with me. And that's the energy of goddess Kali. Kali doesn't want us to waste another precious second being someone we are not. So she's just totally saying, look, be who you are, whatever that is. And we're thinking on the level of who I am as far as my personality and as a person, as a soul. But this is way grander than that. This is as beings, as energy, as an extension of source. She doesn't want us to be with a partner who doesn't treat us with the respect and love we need to do the light work we've come here to do. So that's why we've been having, what we're about to have is these karmic connections are completely being severed, completely being and permanently severed, to align you so that you can do the work you came here to do. And you can't do that with someone who is counterproductive. You can't do that with energies around you that are counterproductive to that. And then she's like, we're gonna put an end to this, because I call it the buddy system. Being a person with this caliber of morale being in a relationship with a person with this caliber of morale, And I feel like that was for a purpose, so that we could learn from one another. But I feel like that purpose is being served, and we've learned all we can learn. And those who have learned these lessons and have still chosen not to rise in vibration when they made their choice where they want to be. Kali wants to sever the ties our ego has made out of fear, out of false belief that we don't deserve better or more. She wants us to get terrifyingly real. She wants us to reckon with the fact that we are not here to please others or to make them proud. We are here to listen to the singular call of our own soul. Kali is a harbinger of having entered Kairos, soul time. So we were just talking about time and how time doesn't exist, and how we have been measuring our lives and everything around this illusion of time. And there is a time, however, it is not measured in the manner in which we have been taught to measure it, which was causing us to age, because we was believing and that we had a certain time frame, which created fear and anxiety and worry that we were supposed to have certain things done in our life by a certain time span or by a certain age, which also created multiple timelines, which made you live in, a split dimension of self, not being whole, and all those things. You weren't able to properly rest, or you weren't properly able to heal and regenerate. And if we're getting new cells every day, and our organs aren't even the same exact organs we had 3 years ago, because it takes about 3 years, I think, for a liver to be completely restored or rebuilt, or your heart, then why are we aging? And these are questions that I have. Everybody don't ask questions, I ask questions. But anyway, it's saying, and it's stripping the ego to reveal the soul can feel raw and often heartbreaking. But ultimately, Kali has come out of fierce love for the truth of who we really are. She has given us the opportunity to choose again, to start over, and this time from a place of tremendous wisdom and strength. Our vulnerability. She lets us begin again from the bare bones truth of who we are. So everything is just being completely stripped down. And again, that sounds good in theory, but it is meaning that you have to face your demons. You have to acknowledge who you are. You have to acknowledge not just everybody wants to acknowledge the light parts of themselves, and they want to acknowledge the dark parts of themselves when it sounds cool, right? But there are dark parts of ourselves that are terrifying, but there are also light parts of ourselves that aren't fierce at all, but are doormats and being ran over by other people. So there is positive and negative on both sides, light and dark, and you have to be able to see it all and take it all and know you for who you are, not for who you have been, the perception that you have been throwing off to others as you are, because you're this person with that person and that person with this person, and but who you are, bare bones, dry, raw. Who are you? And that's what we're discovering. And as we discover that, it is not a painless process at all, because ego is going to hold on to the very last second, and it is going to use its weapons. Ego's weapons are fear, because it is a survival technique and tactic that we have been programmed with, and it's something that we have to overcome and override in our operating system in order to evolve and to reach those highest heights. So I'm going to end this video here. And thank you for watching, and I advise you to please look up your angel numbers 3333. Thank you.